article by Dr. Shashank Joshi, where he has, this is interesting, I initially thought that there were not too many Indian studies done. But there is a huge list which is showing in the article where these many number of studies have been done on Indian populations in different areas, and it is apparently showing these low, I will now start calling it low levels of vitamin D, rather than going into insufficiency, deficiency, hypovitaminosis. So the summary here is then that low levels are definitely there. Pregnant women and their newborns have low vitamin D status, and dietary calcium supplementation has positive effect on these levels. There is an important trial which is going on known as the VITAL trial. Madam, this in fact is going to give us the relationship between, as we said, the causality and the outcome. Is going to talk about relationship of vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids in relation with cancer and CVD. It has started in 2013. 25,000 subjects have been enrolled. It's a randomized double-blind trial, and we are going to get probably the answers by 2017. Now, as lab personnel, what we need to understand that supply meets demand. So because the explosion of vitamin D testing, we have a plethora of assays, and we all started giving results. Then we all started facing these problems of two labs are giving different results. Here what is important is then what have we really done about it as lab professionals. So internationally, the vitamin D standardization program is now in place. If you're all aware as pathologists, the National Glycosylated Hemoglobin Standardization Program, the NGSP, showed wonderful results in the last 20 years, and so did the lipid standardization program. So similarly, now there's a vitamin D standardization program in place. What is has developed a standard material, SRM 972, which now most of the assays will be traceable to this particular standard. So this is what is harmonization of assays all about. And this we come to know again when we look at the EQA results of any analyte. Like I said, only harmonizing the assays doesn't seem to be enough. Harmonizing the reference intervals also is the need of the day. Either you use a functional health-based reference value or you use a target value. We've had adequate discussion on that. But the laboratories need to have this kind of standardized reference interval, or rather accepted reference interval, so that our job or life becomes a little easier. Like we decided that we are going to have a added load, a huge explosion again in the next 5 to 10 years of vitamin D testing. So whether we need to move away from the CMI, CLI assays to the LCMS technology. LCMS is an analytical chemistry technique which combines both liquid chromatography and mass spectrometry. It's a powerful technique with a high sensitivity and selectivity. It is capital intensive and expertise intensive. But the throughput is high and the cost is low. So we just heard some of them saying that we need a little low-cost testing. It is also the gold standard method. So probably in the next few years, we will see more of LCMS testing of vitamin D rather than the CMI, CLI assays. Even the Metropolis group is moving towards LCMS technology. Anita, you have anything to say about that? Are any of the labs moving towards LCMS? Mm-hmm.
Metropolis group, we are going ahead with LCMS technology. We are going to install a couple of machines at least 3 places, Metropolis Mumbai. Probably Metropolis Mumbai is already having it, and Lister and our lab. And we have to see that the assay is robust, it is acceptable. So the analysis will be done by all the 3 labs together, and then we will launch this technology. But as said, again, the initial investment is huge. Cost will certainly come down, but the pooling of the sample will be necessary. Let's see how we succeed in that, because the pooling also calls for a better cold chain facility.
There are another 2 or 3 things discussed. One is the free vitamin D radical. I myself do not know much about it. Only when I was reading about this, I have tried to find out a few things. 88% of the free vitamin D is bound to the vitamin D binding protein, which is an alpha globulin, and 0.03% is the free radical. So any thoughts, Dr. Phadke, about free vitamin D testing?
No, I have never seen it being tested. That's the issue, was that all this hype about vitamin D deficiency, nobody has really studied whether it is every vitamin D low, does it really mean vitamin D deficiency? So one of the factors to consider is whether binding proteins are abnormal. Some people have also suggested doing a 125 testing in where the 25 hydroxy is low, because if 125 is normal, it doesn't necessarily mean that the patient is compromised and you need not do anything about it. So these are methods of further identifying or trying to classify what that problem really is when you find a low vitamin D on testing. But I haven't seen a commercial assay
I
being
have
used.
read about it only with research applications at the moment. So we don't have a free vitamin D assay coming up right away, maybe even not even in the next 5 years. Does
There's a big article in a recent NEJM, which, it's Holick has a unidimensional approach. He believes that the world started from vitamin D and that's how it is. So I have heard Holick many times. You have heard him, sir? Yeah. So
this binding protein is clearly important. That NEJM paper, which is again, there are 6 correspondents on that. So
Okay.
they have seriously challenged their methods. But basic fact is large part of vitamin D is bound, and there are at least 2 SNPs, genetic markers, which determine the level of protein. So, I mean, my take is that 80% of the circulating level of the vitamin D binding protein is determined by these 2 genetic factors, which reflects into 10% of the vitamin D level which you measure. So 10% of the variance of what you measure is going to come from that. This article, I mean, you can all read it. It's from Harvard. There are 2 Indian authors in that, Thadani and others. And it has raised a lot of interesting now question whether Indians have these SNPs and therefore their levels are lower. We'll need to investigate, because I have now sort of collaborated with CCMB to do this. So within a short time, we will have an answer on these SNPs in our population. That will tell us whether part of it is due to that. And that's a very important point, because we do that for thyroid, for example. But as yet, we have not done it for vitamin D. And that might be one of the obvious explanations why, as a race, we have such a low level. But that remains to be proved. Unless we do it, we can't say that.
Okay. Any